Hello, 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 hello. Nicholas here with DIVO-Ted Talks, devoted talks, if you will. And I am excited to be back with you. The particular day that I'm recording on, there was a full moon last night. Those always impact me. This one didn't feel quite as much. I think it's because I've been working hard. But man, I had the stamina yesterday. I worked all day and it was awesome. And I think I could also attribute it to the fact that I just went and spent time with the family for the weekend. And it is amazing how much taking that quick break. It was only 48 hours, like quite literally 48 hours that I was there, and how refreshing and how refreshed you can be. I am of a Kaphic body type, and so that does afford me a more robust and restorative type system. So I'm apt to recover quicker energetically and whatever, more so than say Pitta or Vata. Although when all of them are in balance, they all functionally restore and do what they are doshically for that individual. We all have a different set point, and that's one of the things to remember. And that is also why I'm here with you. And that being, we are all unique and individual. Yes, Ayurveda says we are all unique expressions of consciousness and individualized at that. And the ego in and of itself isn't bad, but the ego is what helps us identify as us versus them, or me versus that, or me versus you. And within that, all of these individuals have uniqueness that needs to be honored in so many different levels, dimensions, and perspectives, including a full moon. So Kapha is related to Soma. Soma is related to the moon. And so the full moon is going to be affecting Kapha a lot. I was also born under a full moon, so I also have a deep connection to it in that regard. Energetically, it wasn't nearly this month, but you know what I mean. Energetically and mentally, they have a special place in my heart. So there's also that level of shift and change. And then, of course, the unique organization of planets and the unique organization of the energies within us. And then we get this whole map that is shifting and moving, much like outer space, right? Much like the universe and the way things are spinning. And when they're in contact with each other, it draws them in. And when they get further away, they release that interaction, whatever that may be, whether it's the tides and the moon, or perhaps us getting closer to the sun or to some of the other planets and the effects that has on us. I'm trying to think of a very specific example, but I will say not only is astrology not quite my strong suit, neither is astronomy or the physics of space. So anyway, back to the physics of self. We are resistant to change, but once we do decide and commit, it is very easy because our attention and our will and our choices are all aligned and aimed in one direction. So it's like an arrow shooting, and it's able to penetrate far because everything is perfectly balanced, harmonious, and ready to proceed. And so how do we get that in our life? Well, one might say practice. Practice making choices that are based on your wants, needs, your alignments, your shifts, your changes, anything that may be going on in your life, right? So, hey, I am tired. So even though I committed to going to the gym, maybe I do go to the gym, but maybe I don't work as hard, or maybe I don't bash myself if I don't achieve a certain level of my program while in the gym. Same with food, right? It's the weekend, it's the summer, it's the holiday, and everybody's eating cake, and I kind of want a piece of cake. Cool. But also not eating cake because everybody said you should eat cake, eating it because you want to and because it is something that you desire and it would give you joy or enjoyment. And I mean, that really goes for everything. Enjoyment and enjoying and being in joy of life should be something that's happening over and over and over again, and not these peak occasions or just on the weekends, right? Weekend warriors. Yoga tells us that the yoga isn't when we sit down and meditate or when we perform the actions to get the samadhi. It's everything. It's all the things. Yoga is every moment that I'm able to connect with myself in the greater world that I'm interacting with. Like that's some interesting and some awesome stuff. Um, and for each person, that's going to be different because of our unique constitutions and our unique expressions and our unique circumstances. Because each circumstance in my life affects everything about me, at least in that moment. And so, moment to moment to moment, we're continuing to learn ourselves, to relate to ourselves, to yoke with ourselves. Yuj, a Sanskrit word. But what does that all mean? It means we are gifted with the beauty of exploring and discovering ourselves, if only we understand that that is the right and just way to go through life, rather than trying to be something you're not, rather than trying to fit into a certain part of a society because someone told you you had to, because you feel like it's your only choice. And I mean, this could be for any breadth of things, right? What if you had to survive in a society? What if you were able to choose the parts of that society that you most resonate with and then go there and do that work so that you're not draining yourself and or bleeding out, spiritually speaking? What if you could still function within a society and not be a complete, wild man if there was no society or structure around you? Like, what if you were able to really connect so deeply with yourself that it's all clear about what you need to do, right? In, more ancient times, more, pre-evolutionary times, like survival was the biggest thing. Like that was it. But there was things that could kill you and could eat you. And yes, there are still things that could kill you. There are less things that are going to kill and maim you and eat you. And so in a world where there's more space to elevate, sometimes we don't allow it's this double-edged sword. We have so much time, we think we can get to it later, or we're so consumed with surviving that there isn't a spirituality in it. There isn't a connection to self in it. And somewhere in the middle, there's the ability to be busy enough and have enough called upon you that you prioritize and make space for it in your life, versus being only survival and only time. Like I can get to it whenever I get to it because I don't have to worry about anything. Somewhere in the middle is this space where, this sweet spot where you have enough that's required of you that you have to prioritize putting this connection to self in your schedule. Sometimes we call that self-care. I would consider connecting with yourself self-care, but I don't think going and getting a massage technically is a self-care unless it's teaching you more about you. Like, wow, I spent my whole life thinking I wasn't worthy of getting these things. Not that that needs to be the story, but it's in that same vein. And so bearing that in mind, how can you start to pay attention where your misalignment with connecting with yourself is at? Is it because I'm so focused on surviving, I just work, and that's all I can focus on? Or do you have all your needs taken care of, and so it's not a priority for you? Or are you in that sweet spot where you're almost there or sometimes there, but you're working towards it slowly but surely? And the answer doesn't matter, right? Because we can always consciously choose to be more focused on ourselves, prioritizing self, and doing the real self-care, which is paying attention to what our body needs. And in that need, we learn more about us, whether it's a deficiency that we have in our life or choices that we made. It allows us to further comprehend and understand ourselves. And then from that new vantage point, learn more about ourselves. I call these the levels of, not the levels of awareness, what do I call it? Orders of magnitude, right? The orders of perception of magnitude. And so Once we elevate to a new magnitude, we can then look towards the next one and start learning ourselves towards that next magnitude of it, right? We start at the need of our cells, all the way through our organs, all the way through organ systems, all the way through the corporeal, and then all the way through our mind, and then all the way through to our spiritual and whatever exists beyond that. All right, my friends. I kind of spun around on this one, but I like it. I like where it landed. So, friends, I'm Nicholas. This is DIVO-Ted Talks, where we take ancient wisdom and take it through a modern lens so it's relevant and instructive in our modern day lives. See you soon. Be well, be free.